And what you just heard was a song that's a whole vibe all by itself. It's by Corinne Hawthorne. It's called Speak to Me. And I don't know about any of you on this Sunday evening, but that's certainly my heart's cry today. Welcome, welcome, welcome into the gray area. I'm your host, Shari Nycole. I'm so excited to be hanging with you guys once again. The Lord has brought us through for another Sunday. So I'm grateful. I hope you are too. And in a world of extremes, taboos, and biases, it's often very complicated to meet in the middle, or as I like to call it, the gray area. The gray area is where topics we avoid but need to tackle exist. It's where people on both sides of an issue find understanding. The gray area is where we learn new things about others and ourselves. And what better way to do that than with one of my absolute favorite artists? Like, I'm a super fan. Like, I don't really freak out over people because, I don't really get starstruck. But this guy does it for me. Lecrae is hanging out with me today. I can't wait to chat with him. We're going to break down his new music, his new book, and so much more. So make sure you guys stick around for that. And, I want to kick things off with some good news today. What do you guys think? Let's do it. Tyler Perry is officially a billionaire. I said billionaire. According to Forbes, his net worth is $1 billion. Tyler may have started from the bottom with homelessness and difficulties getting his empire off the ground as part of his story, but he's definitely here now. He owns one of the biggest production lots in the U.S., 22 feature films, 24 stage plays, and over 1,200 television episodes. And catch this tea. I don't know if you guys caught it. He owns all of them. He owns all of them. And so when I think about Tyler's story, when I think about his background, when I think about everything that he's been very transparent about, in terms of how he came into his own in this industry, I can't help but be inspired. And I hope you guys are as well. I was looking at some headlines the other day and noticed he's building this humongous mansion. I don't even know how many acres it is. It's humongous. It's a little bit on the outskirts of Atlanta, Georgia. And it appears that it has a runway as well for his private jet, plane, whatever you want to call it. And hey, I'm here for all of it. Tyler, if you want to have 5 million planes, whatever you want to do your thing. And I think that we need to take moments to celebrate, people like Tyler Perry, and understand as well, you just have to stay with it. You just have to stay with it. And it makes me think about a project that I'm a part of, that I'm very excited to be doing, and just really elated that God opened the door, and I'll be executive producing alongside Dr. Celicia and Selena Johnson for a docuseries called The Making of a Woman. It's going to be on Fox Soul. It's premiering Tuesday. Shameless plug. Yeah, that's right, because it's ours, so I can shamelessly plug it. Tuesday, September 8th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. I hope you guys can tune in. Fox Soul. You can check it out on the Fox Soul app, or you can go on Fox Soul. They have a great YouTube page you can check it out on. But either way, make sure you guys support it. It's all about good music. Selena Johnson put together a great album called Woman about a year or so ago, and the album came out earlier this year. It's doing really well. And what we wanted to do was capture the essence of the creation of that album. And at the time, we didn't really know what was going to happen with it. We wanted to make a documentary, but sometimes you just do stuff and God guides you along the way. And that's exactly what happened. And so fast forward, we started shooting like 2 years ago, fast forward to just recently, and we got a deal done. So I'm very excited. I also edited this project, which was something else that I did not plan on doing, but God said, you have to do it. And so I'm really, really, really excited. I know you guys can tell. If you can't tell, I don't know what to tell you. But if you're into good music, if you are into great storytelling, if you want to understand more about the essence and the beauty of women, period, this is the documentary for you to watch. So once again, that's on Fox Soul on Tuesday, September the 8th, 10 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. Pacific time. Fox Soul app or Fox Soul's YouTube page. Looking forward to you guys supporting that. And I want to move quickly to Brandy and Monica. So I'm not, guys, come on. We can't be that saved where we don't listen to Brandy and Monica, okay? Don't be super saved on me right now, okay? Brandy and Monica's verses happened last week, and I got to tell you guys, I had so much fun with that. Monday night, that was the highlight of my week, the verses. And, the battle, well, I'll call it a celebration of great music instead. That celebration captured the eyes of over 1.2 million viewers simultaneously. That's actually a record for verses. They got the most views so far. And because these two beautiful black women came together, they combined, catch this, for over 20 million U.S. song streams after their verses reunion. So not only did they come together and cast aside any rumors, any doubts about them liking or disliking each other. But because they decided, hey, as Black women, we need to come together and do something special, and understanding that as artists, people appreciate the artistry and want to see them, they come together, and then all of a sudden they start streaming over 20 million. Think about this, guys. That music, a lot of these music are hits that they had many years ago. Now, all of a sudden, they're either being reintroduced to people or introduced to a new generation. And now you go back to, hey, let's make money together. So it makes me take a pause and say, hey, there's always room at the table. You have to just make a decision about, are you willing to come to the table? And sometimes you're going to come to the table with people that you might not necessarily be the best of friends with, but there's still purpose behind the connection and purpose behind the positioning. So really, let's really focus on our positioning these days. Let's really think about that and ask God, okay, God, please position me where I need to be. And please position me with who I need to be in position with. And sometimes it's just not going to look like we want it to look. But shout out to Brandy and Monica. I'm a huge fan. You know, I could go on and on about Brandy and Monica. Real talk. I'm a huge Brandy and Monica fan. And if you guys are, whoever tuned in, I want to know what you thought about the verses. I want to know what you thought about it. I also want to know who you think was the winner. And I'm not going to lie, okay? I'm a huge Monica fan. I am. And a huge Brandy fan as well. But when it comes to verses, I'm all about the music. So people were saying, well, you know, Monica's records made me feel like this, so she should win. Well, it's not about you, okay? It's not about how the records made you feel. It's about the music. It's about the musical arrangements and compositions, okay? That's what it's about. It's about the catalog and the body of work. And if I have to go that route, I gave it up to Brandy. I'm just saying, guys. If you've ever heard the Full Moon album, you'll understand. Now, Brandy and Monica, they both have hits on both sides. I love them both, but at the end of the day, I had to give it up to Brandy. And shout out to my Instagram followers. They're following me on Instagram right now, tuning into the hot topics. If you want to follow me as well, I'm on Instagram at Shari, SHARI_NYCOLE. And Cordell, I want to shout out Cordell Capone, a good friend of mine. He's hanging out with me on Instagram right now. He said in the Brandy versus Monica verses, the viewers won. You know what, Cordell? That's a great point. Thank you so much for your comment. The viewers actually did win. And big ups to everybody that tuned in to support real music. That's what it's all about. You know, I'm a big R&B fan. I'm a big gospel fan, of course, but also a big R&B fan. And I feel like sometimes R&B gets the short end of the stick. You know, I need people to know that R&B is yet alive. Okay? It is. So I'm glad Brandy and Monica reminded us all of that. And, you know, in honor of their versus battle, you know, although Brandy is not on this record, it still shows that R&B is alive and well, and there can always be a fusion between gospel and R&B. This is one of my favorite songs. It's called Hold On by James Fortune featuring Monica. And you know what, guys? That was not the song that I asked for. And just because it wasn't, I fussed at my board op Max. I just got into him real quick, guys, because I need him to do what I say. No, I'm just joking, guys. I love Max. Shout out to Max, my board op. It was actually mislabeled in the system. And these type of things happen. We just roll with the punches because, as a matter of fact, look how God works. That song is actually very fitting for the show today. We talked about Tyler Perry. Favor. We talked about Brandy and Monica. Favor. We're going to talk about somebody else right now. Jacob Blake. Favor as well. This man is alive. He's continuing to heal. There was a video that attorney Ben Crump released just, I believe it was today or yesterday. And Jacob Blake spoke to the world essentially from his from his hospital room. And I just, in watching it, I'm just in awe that this man still has his life. And it speaks to the fact that when whatever God says, when God says yes, no one can say no. No one can say no. And so it was a short message. It was about a minute long. And he spoke about just how we all need to really evaluate our lives and the things that we're doing and understand that certain decisions that we make simply are not worth it. Simply are not worth it. And he spoke about the realities of what he's dealing with now. He said it hurts to eat. It hurts to sleep. Sometimes it hurts to breathe. He has staples and all these other things that are keeping him together, essentially. And I'm just in awe of God's miracles. And a lot of times we hear stories about victims of violence at the hands of police, victims of violence at the hands of someone else who isn't an officer. And oftentimes the result is not them still having their life. So I'm grateful. I looked at Jacob and I was just grateful that he's still here. He's going to be able to tell his story and his side of the story. And, I'm very much in support of Black Lives Matter. I don't know if anyone's aware, but I am. And so I'm going to make a stand and say that right now. But, one of the things that I am most grateful for is that God has spared his life. And so, I watched his father. They had a rally earlier this week, and his father was it was a powerful, powerful time. And to see his parents so poised, so powerful, it really was a sight to see. And I can't imagine as a parent, I don't have kids yet. I do want children. In the name of Jesus, anybody want to just stretch your hands towards your radio, towards your cell phone if you're listening on the Philly's Favorite app, towards your computer if you are listening to me right now on philliesfavorite.com. Stretch your hands out and pray that I will at some point have a family. But in the meantime, in all seriousness, thinking about that, as I can't imagine as a parent what type of courage I could muster up to be able to address a crowd with such courage and talk about, my child's life being in the balance, and talk about not just my child's life being in the balance, but also using my child's life being in the balance as a catalyst for change. And so now we move from just my son or my daughter was a victim of violence at the hands of police to, hey, this happened, but let's take this moment. Let's take these moments and push towards the advancement for racial and social justice in this country. And that really is the most important thing. So I encourage all you guys, go over to, if you're on Instagram, go and follow Attorney Ben Crump. He's been, he's the attorney on this case, and he has really been keeping us all abreast to all the different things that are going on. And it's important that we stay informed during these times. We're getting close to the election. You saw that segue? We're getting close to the election. And I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, because that's not my job, but I am going to encourage you to vote. And one of the ways that you can make a vote is make an informed vote. So keep your eyes plugged into the news, however you consume your news. Make sure that you're reading, make sure that you're watching, make sure that you're praying. It's very important that we do all of those things. And don't get discouraged. There's a lot of things that are going on around us that, are some negative things, but please understand that God is still in control. He's still in control. And sometimes I know it's tough to see it over the things that are happening, but that's why we have to get still with him and understand that. So I encourage all you guys. I'm grateful again for Jacob Blake's life. I'm grateful for his message. I hope that you guys are empowered by his words as well, and continue to take care of yourselves and your families. Watch over each other. And I got a song that, I really thought it was a great way to move out of Jacob Blake, and also it really speaks to the times, and also just to encourage all of us during these times. It's from Deidre Haddon. It's called I Can't Breathe. Man, that's a powerful record right there by Deidre Haddon. It's called I Can't Breathe. And, when we think about what's happening in the world around us, I'm sure we all kind of feel a little suffocated at some points in time. And maybe you're a little bit discouraged about how to move forward with some of the dreams and the goals that you may have. Maybe you are easily distracted now more so than before. Maybe you're just consumed with everything, drowning. But I wanted to encourage you guys that at the end of the day, you have to keep pressing forward, because God still has a lot of purpose as it relates to you. And it was interesting. I was in the gym. I am a gym rat, guys. I am team fit, #team fit. And, former basketball player, played in college and things of that sort. And so working out is a big part of my life. And, I have a mentor who's like another father to me. His name is Will Franklin. And he trained me from 14 years old, and still currently when I go back home, he still trains me, personal trainer. And I was on the treadmill doing cardio the other day, and he sent me this text out of the blue. And I know I read a text to you guys last week from my father. And, I don't ask people to send me these motivational messages. They just do. And it speaks to just the gift that I have of the amazing village, and I wanted to share this with you all, what Will sent me, because I think it'll bless you all just as much as it blessed me. So he says to me, pull out your goals for this year. Look at them over and over again. Guys, how many of us had goals this year and we put them down because we thought 2020 was a wrap? We thought it was a waste. Pull them back out again. Will goes on to say, faith without works is dead. Who do you want to be? God is not the author of confusion. Mastering obstacles and personal transformation involves mastering the mind and having clarity of where you're going. Discipline is the key. It determines how bad you want it. Mastering the mind is huge. What you achieve in life is in direct proportion of what you have in your mind. Losers bow to obstacles. Champions make obstacles bow to them. Tell the mountain whatever is in your way to be thy removed in the name of Jesus. Trust is the key. Know that God will not fail you. Faith is a lifestyle. You've got to have it to win. You must conquer your fears and seize the moment. Champion. No, there is no off season. 2020 is not an off season, guys. You're still in season. Will goes on to say, we work day and night, holidays, weekends, birthdays, anniversaries. Declare this, dear fear, leave my life for good. You have wrongly tried to deny me of my victory to chase my dreams. We will not be denied. It's all about identity, self-awareness, then going all in with total commitment. Stop wishing and hoping and reach and discover yourself. Ask God to give you a new mindset to win. Ask God to give you the strength and the ability and get after it. Your work effort has to match your mindset. Think like a champion. Pray like a champion. Work like a champion. Be a champion. No better words there. One of the things that really hit me hard was when he said your work effort has to match your mindset. I'm a workaholic, guys. But oftentimes I can be very frustrated inside or have anxiety or or want to complain about why I have to do the work I'm doing instead of focusing on faith and focusing on the fact that God has me doing the work for a reason. So really, really make sure that your work effort matches your mindset. Get off the hamster's wheel. Make it happen. Pick the dream up off the shelf. Pick the gift up off the shelf and start using it. I'm so excited. Lecrae is coming up like really soon, guys. So hold on and bear with me, okay? I hope I'm not boring you, which I don't think I am. But before I bring Lecrae into the gray area, I want you guys to take a listen to one of his new songs. It's called Drown, featuring John Legend. That's one of my favorite words, guys. It's called Drown. It's Lecrae, one of my favorite artists, featuring John Legend. An amazing record there. And, you know, I'm so excited to have Lecrae on the line. And for those who are literally asleep, this man is an author, and he's also, in my opinion, one of the most prolific Christian and hip hop artists in the game right now. Lecrae, welcome to the gray area.
I appreciate that distinction. I appreciate that. That's love.
Yeah. So how you know, it's been another tough week, and I was talking about this on the show last week. It's just, I feel like this nation, the culture has been just hit with right hooks over and over and over again. When we reflect on what's happened with the Jacob Blake tragedy, thank God he's on the mend. And then we also think about the loss of Chadwick Boseman. So just kind of how are you kind of processing everything that's going on, and also, you know, taking these hits on the chin and still being able to function as a Black man, a father, a husband, and an artist?
You know what's the funny part about it's not funny, but what I would say, the thing I have to remember is that you know, we just have way more access to information across the world, so it all hits like at one time. You know, yeah. I imagine like back in the 1800s, you know, there was probably lynchings on a regular basis, great leaders dying, and you know, that news didn't travel as fast.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, the slaves in Texas didn't even know they were free for a year. So I think that's the hard part for us, is that the information all hits us at one time. It's like in an instant we find out about another shooting, another murder, another loss of somebody who matters to us. And so the trying or the task in the middle of it all is just trying to remember that sometimes we're just not meant to absorb it all at one time, and try to wrestle with that.
And that's a great point you raise. And one of the things that I love about you and your music and your mission and your ministry is that you're very open about the humanity that we all carry and the fragility of our souls. And with that said, I want to kind of move into your upcoming book, I Am Restored: How I Lost My Religion but Gained My Faith. And I wanted to ask you, can you speak to the process of transitioning, like through that revelation? So going from religion to now we're moving more into relationship and faith.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, religion is really about rules and following all the rules in order to be accepted. And that's a dead end game. I had to leave that alone because that drives you insane. It makes you feel like if I mess up, then my relationship is going to be destroyed. And nobody wants to live on eggshells. It's just not a healthy way to live. It creates a lot of anxiety. It ruins your sense of faith. It just devours your sense of who God is and your purpose. And so for me, I had to understand that religion was me doing things in order to be accepted, but faith or relationship is understanding that I am accepted, and I live out of that acceptance. And so that's been the biggest transition for me. It's a journey, it's a process, and it was a painful one, but it's worth it because on the other side of that, there's way more freedom.
And so, what was your perception of faith prior to you coming into the realization that religion, in the sense that you're talking, isn't the way to go?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was about initially it was about the institution, this kind of Western institution that we call the church, the Sunday situation, that we call how you can connect with God. And sure, it can be a means, but that's not the formula. That's not the requirement. And so that institution I thought was everything. I thought, man, these particular pastors and leaders have to embrace me. And this is the right way to believe. And this is the right way to see the Bible. And this is this. And this. And as long as I follow these little, jot these I's, cross these T's and jot these I's, then me and God are cool. And then you realize that those individuals that you're fighting to impress are human, and they'll fail you, and they'll falter, and those institutions are not perfect, and they're scarred up and marred up with people just like you who have their own self-interest, and some people want money, and some people are power hungry, and you begin to realize, this is an institution full of people, and people are broken, and so God is consistent, but the people are they're a mess.
And it's interesting you talk about leadership. Oh, no, keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. You're good. I was just saying I'm one of them, so I'm not trying to point fingers and say y'all a mess, but I'm good. I'm saying we all a mess.
Yeah, absolutely. When you talked about leadership, I thought about, and this isn't my opinion, but I want to get your take on this. I have seen such a divide, in a sense, especially when we move into the political sphere, between white and black evangelicals. I'm not saying all, but some. Kind of, what do you make of what's going on right now when we infuse the political pulse of this country with what's happening in churches around the country?
Yeah. Well, the unfortunate part is that we have taken things that should be ethics or moral or biblical ideologies, and we have made them into political ideologies. And so now something as simple as love your neighbor as yourself becomes a flag or a tent pole for a particular political party. And so people begin to say, well, if you're on the side of, loving your neighbor, well, then you must be on the liberal left. And if you're on the side of, authority and consistency and structure, then you're on the right. And it's just, it's ridiculous, that these are just moral, ethical, biblical principles that everybody should embrace. And yet we've made them political and they've given us a reason to divide ourselves over, which I think is unfortunate. And so when we began to unpack it, what I really see is that the history of this country begins to unearth itself, and we begin to realize that a lot of people are more American than they are Christian, and they've married their faith to their nation, to their nation, and this nation is not something that you can build a foundation on in terms of the right way to look at life or the right way to look at things or the standard, and so that's what we're seeing right now.
And do you think we're too far gone? And what responsibility do you see the church in general not living out and or up to?
Yeah, I think we've always been far gone, and we've always been, off the beaten path. There was never a time where we were on it. I think it's that the leaders are not as prominent as they were before. We had leaders that were, giving us guidance and wisdom and pointing us into particular directions as far as the church is concerned. But I think, a lot of those leaders are gone. But it's not as if things are better than they were in the 60s or the 50s or the 40s. That's just the nature of this country that we're in. I think it's just that we've been given more freedom and we've been allowed to see, to address some of these historical issues. And in my mind is until America begins to address her crimes and address her sins, they're always going to come back to haunt her. There are always going to be issues of trauma. It's like therapy. If you don't go to therapy to deal with your past, your trauma is going to come after you. You got to deal with it.
Yeah. And you've done so much work overseas. And I remember I was trying to book you for another show. I had been trying to book you, lecrae, for like 2 years. No joke. And you were like overseas every time I reached out. And being that you are so cultured and have had that experience, as a Black man, how do you process the injustices that are happening here in America, being that you've been overseas and performed in different countries and seeing how, people of color in particular are treated elsewhere?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the catch-22. When I get to travel, of course, I see circumstances and situations that appear to be better than what we have going on in America. And then I see circumstances and situations that are not better, they're just different. I think around the world, the darker skinned people are those who are the most discriminated against or the most frowned upon. And I think that's just due to the transatlantic slave trade where, around the world, it was if a person has a particular skin tone, then they must be slave class, the lowest of the human class. And so that's an ideology that has just taken root around the world. But I will say this, especially in my time in the Middle East, I've seen people who don't have a voice, who are oppressed and don't even get a voice. And I'm very grateful that even though we face systemic and systematic oppression in this country, we still have a voice, that our voices can be heard and we haven't been muted. There's some places where as soon as you open your mouth, that's the last time you'll ever open your mouth. Yeah. And I'm grateful that we've made that kind of forward progress. But I just think, as far as the difference in what my time in America or my experience traveling outside of America and then coming back home, I just see that, African Americans specifically have created a culture in America, and we have found ourselves like, you almost believe that that you're safe. You believe that you get used to it. That's a better way to put it. It's not even a safety thing. You just get used to it, and and you don't even think about what a change could look like until it starts to get really ugly and really crazy. And so I just don't want us to get used to the dysfunction, the discrimination, and the division that we have to experience.
Absolutely. Agreed on that. I want to move to your album, which I want people to know how big of a fan of yours I am. I'm actually like, I don't really get starstruck mode.
Oh, wow.
I don't get starstruck a lot. I am over here sitting in front of this microphone having a tough time because I just feel the pressure because I absolutely adore you.
Oh, wow.
Your new album, Restoration, it's a masterpiece. I can't even find any other word to describe it. And I'm always in awe of your transparency. And oftentimes in the Christian faith, it's expected that we be as perfect in our presentation as possible on many fronts. So when someone talks about a struggle with substance abuse or a struggle in their relationship or marriage, any of those things, it's like, wait a minute, should they be doing this type of music, or what's wrong with them? Or you don't take any of those types of things to account, and you lay it all on the line. And I really enjoyed that about this album. I thought you had some great collaborations, John Legend, BJ the Chicago Kid, to name a couple. Like, it was wonderfully done. With that said, when you reflect on the creative that was this album, was there anything about it that led to you coming into your own level of restoration that you hadn't experienced prior?
Yeah, I think honestly, the level, there's something very special about being your most transparent, honest self and being embraced for who you are. Now, maybe you won't be embraced by everybody who you thought would embrace you. Yeah. But the people who look at you in all of your tainted glory and say, I see the mess that you are, and yet I love you. And yet I still see the masterpiece that God has created. There's a freedom there. There's a liberty there, and there's a process of restoration that happens for us all. And I think that's really what had happened for me internally, and then slowly but surely externally. So internally, I said, look, y'all, this is who I am. This is the disaster that my trauma and dysfunction has created in my own life. And people said, we still love you, man, and we here for you, and that gave me such freedom to know that, man, these people know the real me, and they're not going anywhere. And so I wanted to give that same kind of liberty and a safe place for other people through the music. And that's why I created the album. And then what began to happen for me was people said, man, we hear all of this mess that you have just told us, and we love you even more because we can relate to you. We can connect with you. We got our own stuff, and we didn't know we could talk about this. I got these issues as well, and I didn't even know anybody. Oh, well, man, I didn't know God would deal with this stuff with me. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. So yes, it was very liberating for me.
And it's cool because, I come from an athletic background. So, you got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to practice hard so you can play well in the game, things like that. So there was always this kind of perfectionist complex I walked around with. And when I heard your album, it simply gave me permission. Permission to unravel, to fall apart at times, and be okay with it. Not with the behavior, but be okay in knowing that, yeah, I'm a mess right here. But God knows I'm a mess. And he's still covering me in spite of that. So thank you for giving me permission. I'm sure other people can say the same thing because it was right. It was right on time.
Oh man, that's beautiful. That's all I need. See, now I'm done. My job is done as far as music is concerned. I'm hang it up. That's beautiful.
No. We got about 20 more albums to go. Keep going. And speaking of the music, I know you have a couple concerts coming up. Can you fill the people in on how they may be able to experience them?
Yeah, absolutely. September 3rd, it'll be a live concert, virtual, but I'll be there live. So you'll hear me mess up and cry in the middle of a song. Who knows what'll happen? You got to just watch and see. But you can go to lecrae.com to get more information or to find out how you can secure tickets for that. And then also, I'll be doing another event at St. Clair Prison in Alabama on September 11th, which, I want people to be able to see the beauty that, is exemplified in those folks being restored too. So, yeah.
I absolutely love it. Lecrae, I want to thank you once again just for allowing God to use you in the way that moves hearts and souls closer to him. So I appreciate you. That. I hope I can have you join me again sometime soon.
Absolutely. The pleasure's mine. When the book come out, I'm there.
Come on when the book comes out, because that's soon. Mm-hmm. So that's fun. That's like that's October.
Yeah.
Lecrae, don't act brand new when I call your publicist, because I'm going to call.
Come on.
Lecrae, be safe, brother. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you, love.
I figured I'd hit you guys over the head with one more from Lecrae. That song was called Set Me Free. I love that record. Also, shout out to Mary and Warren Campbell. Lecrae sampled their record Shackles in that one. So I'm just overwhelmed, overjoyed. I want to thank Lecrae once again for joining me today. I just got so much out of our conversation, and I really hope you guys did as well. And, this entire show, I've just really felt lifted. And the whole goal is to make sure that we all walk away feeling a little bit better and a little bit more prepared for what's ahead for the following week. So, Lecrae, thank you, brother. I'm going to hold him to it, guys. I'm going to make Lecrae come back and talk to me when his book comes out next month. So you all as well, DM him, mention him in your statuses on Instagram, whatever you need to do, make sure you do it. Also, make sure, once again, I'm going to shamelessly plug this one more time. I'm executive producing a new project on Fox Soul. It's called The Making of a Woman. Executive producing it along with my creative partners, Dr. Celicia and Selena Johnson. So make sure you guys check that out. You can download the Fox Soul app and watch it. And you can also watch it on Fox Soul's YouTube page. And that's going to happen on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And also, I love talking to everybody. I love communing and fellowshipping with everyone. So make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at Shari, SHARI _Nycole, NYCOLE. Let me know what you think about the show. Let me know, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever you need to tell me. I am here for you. So I'm on Instagram all the time. I want to hear from you guys. Make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. And also Shari Nycole Media on Facebook. And Shari _Nycole on Twitter as well. It has been an honor and a privilege to hang out with you guys this evening. I can't wait to do it again next Sunday right here in the Gray Area, 7 p.m. Philly's favorite 100.7. Have a great night and a great week, guys.
Gray Area. Gray Area.